Hey, welcome back in the kitchen. Now, I also think we should look at the flavor umami, which is this flavor that's not quite as easy to discern as salt or sweet. But remember, anything that has the flavor, has umami, has lots of free glutamate, which will stimulate basically this, or increase the sensitivity of all your sensory nerves in your mouth, and thereby enhance the sensory experience of what you're eating, so it will make things taste more savory or taste stronger, and also increase the sense of mouthfeel and all the sensation of the textures of the food in your mouth. So there are quite a few natural ways of getting umami. I can see I just forgot one, so I'll get hold of that from the refrigerator. Obviously, you also have the third spice, MSG, which is basically pure umami because it's monosodium glutamate, but I'm not going to suggest you use that. But let us look at some of the natural sources of umami. So I have one more, I can see here. So for starters, soy sauce or tamari actually has quite a strong umami flavor. So if you use that instead of salt and sprinkle a bit of that on your food, either when it's finished or during cooking, you'll actually get a bit of saltiness, but you'll also get natural umami flavor. Fish sauce has umami flavor as well, but fish sauce is very strong, so you only want to use very small amounts. So we're just talking a squeeze, a couple of drops here and there. You're definitely not going anywhere towards the amounts of, say, a tablespoonful, because that will overpower everything else. But small amount, just a drizzle of fish sauce, will actually leave whatever you're eating having a greater flavor of umami. Olives as well, whether they're black or green. One thing with black olives though, make sure if you buy black olives that you get real black olives with the pits. Some of the pitted olives you can buy, the small ones that are black, actually aren't black, they're green olives that have been pitted and were in such a poor state that you had to color them. So all the pitted small, really lousy black olives, in fact they're green olives that were so ugly no one would buy them because they were off color, but then you just add certain chemicals and they turn black. But real black olives with the pit in it is the real deal. So olives actually have umami flavor. Capers as well, they have umami flavor. Tomatoes develop umami flavor once they're cooked. So tomato sauce, oven roasted tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes, here I have semi-dried tomatoes, they all develop umami flavor. So if you add them to a meal, that will help enhance the flavor of it. Seaweed has umami flavor, whether it's nori, it could also be kombu or wakame, some of the other types of seaweed. They all have umami flavor. Think about it with rolls when you have sushi. What do you have in there? You have some vegetables, rice, maybe a bit of fish, and they still taste like a lot. How come when in some ways all the basic ingredients are so bland? Because the rolls have been wrapped up in nori, which then has the umami flavor, and it enhances the whole sensory experience of eating all the ingredients in the rolls. So seaweed is another way. Crushed garlic actually develops umami flavor. So here I have homemade garlic paste, just garlic pureed with sea salt. So after 10 minutes or so, garlic will develop umami flavor. So freshly chopped garlic won't work, but if you chop it and leave it for a while, that works. Meat, if it's allowed to ripen naturally over time in air, also gets umami flavor. That's why there's a whole world of difference in flavor between a piece of meat that's actually been left to ripen in a sort of old school manner, as your butcher would do back in the day, as compared to some of the things you get nowadays where you just have feedlot raised cattle brought into the slaughterhouse, slaughtered immediately and vacuum packed. That's also why if you go hunting, you actually want your game to hang for a day or two before you cook it. So if you take a rabbit and you kill it and you try eating it immediately, the flavor will be quite bland. But if you leave it for a day or two before you skin it and chop it up and broil it or whatever you do, then the rabbit will taste like a whole lot more because the natural umami flavor has been allowed to develop. So that's a way of getting umami. Cheese has umami flavors. There's feta cheese, but essentially any high quality cheese that actually tastes like something, not some of the rubbery stuff they sell off as cheese, but real cheese has umami flavor, especially feta cheese. And then what else? You have manchego, pecorino, parmigiano, some of these Spanish and Italian cheeses that are a bit dry or a bit more solid. They all have umami flavor, and a lot of the vegetable stocks you can get have umami flavor as well. And actually all sorts of mushrooms have umami flavor, be it here just basic button mushrooms, but also, of course, and again the most well-known one is the truffle, but there are many other mushrooms, and if you cook them in the right manner, that will get you umami flavor as well. So my favorite, or one of my favorite ways of increasing the flavor of whatever I'm cooking is actually to take mushrooms like these and throw them on a pan, obviously a non-stick pan, that's best so they won't burn, without anything. And initially we'll turn up the heat high, and once things get going we'll just leave them to simmer in their own juices, and that will develop lots of umami, which then enhances the flavor of whatever else you're cooking. So just mushrooms like that, if nothing else. Now traditionally in European cooking, especially French cooking, you'd normally take mushrooms and then you'd roast them with lots of butter or olive oil, and they can absorb unbelievable amounts, but that also sort of drowns the flavor, overpowers the flavor, and then you would leave them to simmer with lots of cream, which tastes nice, but you've actually disguised the flavor. So I prefer to have my mushrooms like that, clean so to speak, or nothing interfering with the flavor. So now they're on here, as again the pan isn't quite hot yet, so we'll come back and look at them in a moment once things get going. So bon appetit for now.